Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my plans for June, my June TBR, my pile of possibilities. In June, I'm going to be taking part in the Shelf Space Magical Creatures Readathon that is being hosted over on the Shelf Space Discord, so I will leave a link to that down below if you're interested in joining us. It's very casual, relaxed readathon. There is a bingo board with 9 prompts in it based on magical creatures, and you just read a book for each magical creature. You can't double up, it's just one book, one prompt. Pretty casual, pretty fun, hopefully, and hopefully it will help me like structure my reading a little bit, branch out a little bit, and we will see how it all goes. So I was struggling a little bit trying to create a TBR for June, or trying to figure out exactly what my mood was or is. So I was like, I just don't know what I want to read. I don't know. Gosh, I don't know what I want to read this month or this coming month. So in the month of May, I've been reading a lot of sequels, but I haven't actually quite like finished series. I've just been reading the second book, or the sequel. But so I really hope that maybe I could finish things off potentially. But also I'm like, do I want to read sci-fi? Do I want to read fantasy romance? Do I want to read epic fantasy? Like, my brain is just feeling a little bit all over the place with what it wants to read. Who knows quite what it's going to like gravitate towards as the month goes on. All I do know is that one of the books I really want to read, which is what I'm planning to read once I finish my current reads, is The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. So this one is definitely going to be on the TBR, definitely happening, and this is going to be, I think, the first book that I read in the month of June, continuing on my theme of sequels. So I will chat through some of the books and some of the prompts. So there are 9 magical creature prompts. This one I have got in for Kraken, which is intimidating because this is an 800 and something page book, 850 odd pages. So although I don't feel necessarily intimidated by the length of it, because I do like long books, it is a long book, so it is, quite a chunky. I've got to dedicate myself. It's a commitment, and I'm intimidated by it because I really want it to be 5 stars, and I'm scared that it's not going to be 5 stars. So I really hope that it is. This is the second book in the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. The first book being The Grace of Kings, which I read back in March, and I liked it, but I'd hoped I would like it more than I did. It's a very political, historical fantasy focused on the country of Dara and the consequences and the political ramifications following the emperor's death and the political situation that puts the country into, and you follow various characters as sort of pawns in the general political sphere and their movements and the ramifications of different events. And this, I believe, is going to continue on. I feel like the first one was like a prologue setting up for like wider world events, a very, very long prologue. So I'm really hoping I'm going to really like this one. And generally, I've had like rave reviews for this second book in the series, so I really hope I'm going to like it. And me and Patrick we're actually talking, and I think we're going to plan to buddy read this over the first couple of weeks of June. So it'll be really nice chatting to Patrick about this as we read it. Now I know that that's like the certain one, and the other books are a bit more like flexible. We'll see what happens. So I'll just talk through the rest of the prompts sort of in order. So we have Dragon, which is read a book with fire on the cover in the title. I literally pulled off like quite a few books on my TBR that have fire in the title. I feel like I have, I don't know, a lot of books which have fire in the title. Who would have thought? I don't quite know how I've managed that, but one that I was thinking that I could read, and I feel like this is sort of like pushing me away from what I would normally read, and that is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. This was gifted to me by my friend Ina last year, and she really liked this. And this is a contemporary thriller, YA thriller. You're following a character that has witnessed a murder, and she's now helping the FBI try and uncover what happened. Although this doesn't scream out that this is going to be a me book. I mean, I thought the cover was really fantasy, but it's not a fantasy. It's a contemporary murder thriller, YA. So not at all what I would normally read, but I feel as though people were loving this book last year. So we will see what I think of it. And I thought it could be a good like standalone, and having this as like the prompt like pushes me away from what I would normally gravitate towards, which would be like a fantasy book most probably. So potentially this one, although these are a bit more like TBC. Cerberus, which is to read a book that's part of a trilogy, so any part of the trilogy, first, second, third book. I was thinking I would read the third book in a trilogy and read The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I am currently reading The Two Towers as of filming this and hoping to finish it by the end of May. So by the time I get to June, I will be on The Return of the King. So that would be the plan, that I would keep listening to that trilogy and finish it off. That's my like rough plan for that. I have other trilogies that I am working on, so I feel as though that prompt is quite flexible, that I could put many other books in here. That's just the one I've put in there for now. Cyclops is to read a standalone. I actually haven't put anything in for this. I figure I could put a mood read in. I could be very flexible with that one. There's no book in there currently. I just thought as the month goes on, I could see if I wanted like a sci-fi or a thriller or a romance or a non-fiction, and I could just slot it in. And so I figured I'd leave that on blank for now. The next one was Unicorn, which is to read a book featuring healers or medicine. So this one I struggled with. I literally was staring at this prompt for ages and I was like, the current book I'm reading has healing themes in it, but I'm going to finish that before the end of May, so it's not going to count. The only thing I could really think of and sort of stretch it is the Women's War series. I have the third book that I do want to read in that series. Yeah, there's some healing themes within that series. I wouldn't say there's like a predominant like healer as a main character, but there are themes of it that sort of run through the series, and as that's part of the magic. So I feel as though I could potentially like stretch that prompt a little bit and maybe put that book in, but we will see. I do want to finish that series, so whether I put it in for that prompt or somewhere else, then I definitely do want to continue working on that series. Unlike Dragon, where I was trying to find books with fire and I found so many books with fire on my TBR, I actually struggled with the next prompt, which is Hydra, to read a book with a snake on the cover, and I was like, I don't have any books with snakes on them. Turns out I do, because I have Blood and Honey by Shelby Mehurin. This is the second book in the Serpent and Dove series. Quite an obvious snake on this one, and I do want to continue this series. I do. I have been planning to read this book for a very long time, so this is probably a really good chance for me to actually read this. I think I read like the first maybe like 10 pages a while ago and then just stopped. So I definitely do want to continue this series, see how I feel about this, see what's going to happen with it. Part of me just feel like I might have like aged out of it now. Like I really, really like Serpent and Dove, but part of me wonders if this is now going to read a bit too young for me, and whether I'm actually going to enjoy it, and whether in some ways it might be better if I just leave Serpent and Dove as like a memory that I really liked. But we will see. I think at least I should try this, see how I feel about it, and then we'll go from there. And this is like a YA new adult fantasy romance. Yeah, then the next one was Kraken, which was the intimidating read, which I put The Wall of Storms in for. The next prompt is Leprechaun, so read a short book under 300 pages. The one I could think of for this was The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. So this comes in at a grand total of 254 pages, so easily under 300 pages. Yeah, this is a sci-fi thriller. I don't really want to know too much about it, and I don't know what's like a spoiler and what's not a spoiler, because I feel like I've seen different synopsi for this. So sci-fi thriller, and I think there's like science and a cheating husband, and this one I've had it for quite a while now. I picked it up like in a charity shop for like £1, so if I don't like it, it doesn't really matter. But I thought it would be a good chance to like read it and see how I feel about this. Chimera is the next prompt, and that one is genre blending. So I thought I could continue in the Guild series, the Play to Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy, which I read that first book back in February, so a little while ago now. And this series it was self-published. It has now been picked up by Penguin, and they're now publishing the books, and they're re-releasing the books in June at the very beginning of the month, so I thought it would be a good chance for me to pick up the rest of the series. I was delaying because I much prefer to read books physically, but like the second and third book were like £20 or over £20, and that's a lot of money for a paperback. Whereas now that they've been picked up by Penguin, it's going to be like a normal paperback price, so I'm much more like accepting of paying like £8 for a paperback rather than £22. I'm not made of money. Yeah, and the genres that's blending is fantasy, well, I guess it's like military fantasy romance. Not that there was that much romance in the first book, but it blends those couple of genres, and I have been meaning to continue it, and I think it's going to be a really quick read. That's what I was thinking. You can see that I'm still trying to like work my way through series that I started in like February, March, when I was like, I'm going to start all these series, and now the present Abby is having to like try and work her way through all the series that she started at the beginning of the year, and she's like, why, Abby, did you start so many series back to back, and now you've got so many that you're trying to work your way through? And I really want to start some new series right now, but I feel like I can't because I'm a completionist and I want to be able to like finish some things off first. Is anyone else like this? Is it really just me that's like, I want to finish things off, but I also want to start things? Okay. And then, might be a bit over ambitious here. Yeah, I think I'm being overly ambitious because there's a lot of books. But I do really want to read this. It's really started to call to me. I was actually trying to decide between reading Wall of Storms and this next, and then I was like, Abby, you need to read Wall of Storms because I've committed to doing a live show on it, so I can't read this one next. But I really do want to read Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. So the final prompt is Direwolf, which is read multiple POV book, multiple perspectives, and there are multiple perspectives in this. And I really do want to read this. I feel like it's time. I want to read this. I mean, it's a big commitment. I'll probably spend like half the month reading this because it's so big. And I already have like the 850 page Wall of Storms on my TBR. Yeah, I feel like I want to read this, and I want to start working a bit more on Brandon Sanderson because I want to read this. I want to read this. I want to read Mistborn Era 2 to get ready for the fourth book's release. Like, there is a lot that I want to read in Brandon Sanderson's worlds, Cosmere. So I feel like it's time that I worked on this. And I am really excited to read this. I am. And it's been like ages. It's been ages now since I read Words of Radiance, like ages. So there are some ideas. I feel like it's missing something. I feel like there's something missing from this TBR. I thought it was Oathbringer because I didn't originally put it in because I was like, that's way too much of that's too much. And then I was like, no, it's missing something. Let's put Oathbringer in. But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm quite set on this TBR. And I think that's because I feel like I don't know what I feel like. I don't know what I'm missing, but it's something. I feel like I can't get over that. I want to read Wall of Storms. Like, that's what I want to read because that's what I'm going to read next. Like, my brain is thinking about reading Wall of Storms, and it's like it can't get past that. It's like we're going to read Wall of Storms, and then it's just a void because it doesn't know what it wants to read after Wall of Storms. It's like it could be anything. It could be anything by the time I finish that book. So maybe that's when my brain's just a little bit lost. Yeah, I'm lost. The lost TBR. Like, it's just a bit all over the place. All over the place. My brain is not very settled. I don't really know what that says about me. But yeah, it's just feeling a little bit higgledy-piggledy. But we will see. We'll see how the month goes on, see how things progress, and hopefully I will be able to finish some series and then I could start some new ones. But no. I'm excited to like finish off these series and like get them done. If you're interested in joining the Readathon, then no pressure whatsoever. I'll leave the link to the Discord down below and the link to the prompts and the prompt sheet, so you can check it out. And if you would like to join, then join away. Let me know what you are planning to read in June, if you're planning to read any of the books that I'm reading, or if you've read any of these and you have any opinions on them. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!